Welcome to Cnfl Live. Welcome to Cnfl Live. It's September 12th, 2014, and it's 10:12 p.m. We finally got this goddamn thing started because I was having nothing but technical difficulties because my computer pretty much told me to go screw myself. So that's very exciting. So anyway, we're here with Scony Nation, Michael 18107, True Hater 7. Michael, what's going on?
Oh, not too much. Not too much. Living the dream.
Living the dream. Now, I got to get my playbook out here because I had to reset my entire computer. So while I'm doing that, why don't you tell everybody how everything's been going for you this past couple weeks in the world of Madden?
It's had its ups and downs, that's for sure. We started out against Jimmy, played a good game, and we lost 2 straight to Gus, well, Aiden and then Gus, and then we've won 2 straight now against Consequences and Don. So it's been an up and down season,
Yeah, I mean, look, I think this Madden has been very interesting for everybody, wouldn't you say?
I would. I feel on any given Sunday you can either win or lose, but are you going to win or lose like a man?
Is anybody losing not like a man?
Not yet. I think we've had some slight rumblings, but I know. Spider and King have had their moments of not liking each other, it seems, and well, who else? I thought we had another game. Oh, well, obviously Miz and Mealville had a nice little game where Mealville tried to pull out some stuff and didn't obviously quite get the job done, but he tried.
Yeah, well, I mean, let's go right into that. I mean, might as well let the league know what happened on that one, huh? I mean, the commissioners and the rules committee and all those people got to take a look at it. I mean, what did Meal do? You're the pro.
I am the pro. Actually, Emmett Zone is the one who really went and tested it out, which was nice to see. It's nice to see CNFL, all the owners get in and try and kind of flush out what goes on amongst themselves. We don't have the singly appointed rules czar anymore, so
Boo.
Everybody has to kind of do their part. And Emmett went into practice mode one day and found out that if you were like pinching the D line and then crashing it, and then you took control of the D end, that it somehow messed with the AI, and the DT literally went right up the gut and got instant pressure on the quarterback. And obviously, Mealville, what King said is he started doing it with Sue, and then he put Ansa, who's a lot faster, obviously, in that spot in the D tackle spot, so he could get instant pressure even more. So, and I guess you could do it with almost any play. So I'm not sure. I mean, obviously, I don't think we need to make a rule to ban it because it's pretty much don't break the AI as a rule, don't cheese, and I'm sure you guys are discussing what to do about that with Mealville, but I love that we have this save clips and Twitch and everything now to flush these people out, get it on video, and get it taken care of right away. So,
and how much do you think it was Mealville cheesing and Mealville being pissed off at King Mizark that night because King obviously had words for Meal during chat and things definitely got heated.
Yeah.
So how much do you think it was just Mealville being all pissed off and it was kind of like just men being boys?
I'm sure it was mostly Mealville being pissed off. I mean, he's played 5 other games during the season and nobody had an issue, and I'm sure, unless he's playing people that are just sleeping through the game, if a guy's getting instant pressure up the middle consistently, you're going to notice it. So, I mean, I'm sure it was mostly, King just kind of being King in the chat, and, Meal just kind of wanted to put the hurt locker on him. So, I mean, he tried, You can try it while you can throw out some performance-enhancing drugs and try and hit a 50 home run season and cash in on that contract, but sometimes it don't work.
Yeah, you know what? You're right. I'll tell you. But look, with CNFL, I mean, it seems like is there ever a dull moment?
Yeah, this week it's been very dull.
Yeah.
It's been very slow the last couple of days.
Well, yeah, I mean, because trade season is pretty much done with. So, I mean, this is normal for CNFL, Excuse me. Chat, doesn't it normally isn't hopping even on the cell phone with the group me at this time. That's just normal. I sent an invite out to anybody who is in the Cnfl Google Hangout circle. So if you are part of that circle, feel free to jump in whenever you want. Accept the invite and jump into the show, because I think that's always one of the more fun things. Is it's wonderful me and Mike sitting here yapping to each other for an hour, but when we can have other people join in on the fun, that's always exciting too. Especially when it's Emmett in the middle of playing a game while chatting to us, like he did last year, or Omar walking around
convenience stores.
in convenience stores. That was always exciting. So feel free. Well, if you've been living under a rock, of course you know everything that's going on in the real NFL with Ray Rice and his issues with the then fiance, now wife, and now of course this news comes out about Adrian Peterson, who has been indicted, and and this is of course in real life, and now the Vikings have deactivated him. So I mean, here we are in CNFL. What do we do about these scumbags here in CNFL? Do we not let people play with dirtbags like this, or does this hurt their value at all in CNFL, or do we not care about these douchebags in real life in the world of Madden?
I don't think we care about the dirtbags in real life in Madden, especially when you're talking about somebody like AP, who is arguably the best running back in the game. He's got pretty much every stat you could want. I mean, some of the guys, most of the guys that get in trouble are just role players. I mean, even Ray Rice isn't the greatest Madden player. But like me last year, I traded for Riley Cooper. Riley Cooper after his famous incident, and I'm sure somebody signed Richie. Don't you have Richie Incognito?
That is true. I do have him. And here I am, the one complaining about cyberbullying, and I pick up Richie Incognito.
So I mean, you got Richie Incognito. I mean, if they can help the team, man, they can help the team. What are you gonna do?
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. You're right. Well, I guess then we really don't care too much about it, but I did want to bring it up, because I saw the AP news come through, and it's just amazing that the NFL is starting to become like the NBA. They have all these players who are just ending up just really not being great guys, and at the end of the day, that's why hockey players are the best players, because hockey players never get in trouble. Bottom line. Unfortunately, they don't play NHL anymore either because they can't do their OTP or their rookie mode or anything else they want to do. But I regress. What are the hot topics this week? I mean, I guess the past couple of weeks has been the fact that Remix has not been available. Congratulations first to Remix to getting married. Good job. This did cause some issues, though, in the league, didn't it, Michael?
Yeah, it did. The computer, I believe now, if we factor in, Diz10 Eagles beat Big Red Lucky week 1. Remix's team went 4-1 or 3-1. Was it 3-1 or 4-1? And then
4-1.
Emmett, I think, beat the Cowboys. So I mean, the computer teams are, I think, 4-3 or 3-3. So
I think most notably though of the computer teams, it has been that of Tom Brady.
Tom Brady's immaculate passer rating and completion percentage against humans. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I faced him, and Michael will tell you, boy. I went into that game confident. I'm like, screw this. This is my type of Madden. I'm gonna be able to kill it in this Madden. And Tom Brady made me look like a bitch. That plain and simple. I honestly, he made me feel like I was a shell of the man I am. So. CPU all of a sudden is tough this year. What do you think it is? I mean, personally, my opinion, I think that this year we're playing on all Madden like we always have. We've always played on all Madden mode, but I think this year the CPU is actually all Madden mode and not an all Pro mode, which I think basically is what you were facing in online franchises when you were playing the CPU, was basically an all Pro version of the computer. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I still think their defense is suspect. I mean, you can still run kind of all over the computer defense, and I don't think they're that. I mean, all defense now is harder with the way people react to the ball in the air. So I think the computer's not so much that, it's just everywhere. But I mean, you can still run on the computer defense. It's just the quarterbacks really got tuned. I mean, good quarterbacks, when you put them on all Madden, that's the whole thing. You play Peyton Manning, he's going to pick you apart. I mean, that's what he does. So, I mean, that's what Tom Brady does. I mean, they'll make a mistake every now and again, but they make good decisions. They check it down. I'm sure if you play somebody like some 70 overall quarterback, they're probably going to do some stupid crap. But hopefully, we fixed it. So, I mean, and hopefully people play their games and don't go away for 5 deadlines. But
how did we fix it? Explain that.
Well, I mean, Begg, I know, turned the quarterback accuracy down. So
how far did he turn it down? Do we know this?
From 50 to 10.
Okay.
So, I mean, King played the remix computer last night, and I think Tom Brady threw 3 picks. So maybe it's too far, but
well, we don't know that either because
they still scored 27 points, something like that.
It's facing King though too, and King is the best player in the league. So
yeah, I mean, it'll take some testing, but it had to be done drastically because I don't think a 5-point thing was going to really change anything. So.
It's gonna be. I mean, look, here's the one thing which I do like about it, and this is tough for me to say because honestly, no disrespect to Remix, but I know I had a better shot. I don't know. I'm not going to say I was going to beat Remix because there's definitely no guarantee I would have beat Remix. Remix is a solid player. Him and I have always had great matchups, but I would have had a better shot facing Remix than I would have facing the computer, where I got shut out. I think 26-0. I think was the final score. I was able to. My problem in that game was I think I got too pass happy, and I was actually able to run with Charles on that team, but I couldn't do anything passing, and I realized way too late in the game that I probably should have ran as much as possible on the computer. But I guess, like, in a way, though, the good news is the computer is no longer a pushover, and hopefully bringing the accuracy down does help. I know it was definitely, although I don't really ever see this happening, I don't think anybody's going to make the real douche move here and say, oh, I can't play, blah, 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 play the computer. I don't think that's going to happen. But
that was my plan. That was my plan as soon as I made the playoffs.
Yeah, it's a good way to get booted. Who's going to host the Cnfl Live?
I was going on vacation, man. I was going on vacation.
A long vacation. A permanent vacation. I think it's all right, though. It was a little annoying being one of the victims. And, I can see Swag's point, too, when we were talking to Swag in chat about the fact that it does kind of suck that now future owners who get to play the computer are going to have a little bit of an easier time than us that got our asses handed to us by Tom frickin' Brady, who I
would have been okay if we would have waited till the end of season 1 to make the adjustment. But I mean, I think Begg stated out, we could do a fix, so why wait? I mean, why wait to fix something?
Yeah, I mean, I could understand that.
But yeah, I mean, at the same time, congratulations. Don't take a vacation for the rest of this Madden.
Yep. Now you're gonna get your losses. And honestly, I mean, between you and me and all the viewers watching, all 5 of them right now, I think that CPU games should be pretty much automatics anyway. I think that's always been one of the things. Even though it's good to see that the CPU game is more competitive and it's not a guaranteed win. That's one side of the argument. The other side of the argument, obviously, is that I think should be automatic games. They should be automatic wins.
I think you should win the game. I don't think you should be able to, because in years past that's a stat game. I mean, you could throw 5 touchdowns. That's why we had to put in all those rules that you couldn't rush for more than 200 yards. You couldn't throw for more than 400. You couldn't receive for more than 200 with one receiver because everybody was just stat padding the crap out of those games. But I do agree. I don't think there's any instance where you could argue because a guy's away he should maybe get a win. I mean, no, we all make the commitment to play the league and we play the 16 games. I mean, if you're away, no, you should not win the game at all. And I mean, the worst part is, like the first time it happened is when Big Red Lucky was beating Distant like 17-7 with like a minute 30 left and then got disconnected and he lost that game. Come on. Like, how do you even justify that?
That's an old skills one too, because I think I don't know if you remember a couple of years back when skills was supposed to win a game versus the computer because he hadn't won when there was a disconnect, and then he went and lost the game, and he was specifically supposed to win the game, and that altered the entire playoff. That altered the entire playoff picture with with
Wow.
with that one. But
Yeah, no, I don't think Big Red Lucky was trying to lose that game at all. He's in the play. I mean, he's playing well in that division. So, um, yeah, I mean, but he was beating Diston, and then Diston has seemed to have some internet problems because I think he dropped the first 2 weeks, and I know last week he couldn't connect to Mac, even though that was partly Xbox Live, but they couldn't connect the day before that either. So I'm not sure really what's going on with maybe internet down or just doesn't like everybody else's internet. I'm not sure.
well, I mean that problem has existed in previous matches as well, where for whatever reason
or just
two
internets don't
people
like each
can't
other's
match
internet.
up. Yeah, but then I mean, it begs the question also of what really is better. I mean, nowadays we really can't do it because, and what I'm talking about is subs, because now when you leave the franchise, you pretty much lose everything you did.
Yeah, you lose all your coach XP. Your
yeah,
coach,
which sucks.
Which doesn't get built up that fast.
Oh boy, telling me I'm only at 600K, and I know that I have done things on the goals.
You're at 600,000?
Whatever it is, 600, whatever it is.
Oh, it's just 600. Oh.
I'm not a math major.
Oh, that's just 600 then. Yeah, I'm at like 1250. So
600 XP. Yeah, I'm getting all. I think I've been shut out 3 times this year. I'm getting it all for being shut out.
yeah, so I mean, yeah, that's the one thing you can't do a sub. I mean, my idea was if the person, like last night, Remix was able to put himself on auto because him and King tried to play. He had a shoddy connection. He disconnected. So he's like, screw it, play the computer. He went on and turned himself on auto. He could have went and took out his starters, his skill position guys. So A, they wouldn't get hurt, which would be beneficial to him, and B, it would be an easier time than against the computer.
Yeah. Yeah. Do we know if any of his players got hurt? I know I didn't check to see if any of his players
I didn't check. But again, if somebody's not available to do that, like Remix was gone for 4 days, I'm pretty sure if you do it and then advance, the computer, if you're on auto, will auto do your depth chart, but I'm not sure.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not 100% sure. So.
Well, it was just a lot easier back when we were able to get subs and boot somebody out of even though obviously it was a pain in the ass booting somebody out of the league. Then they play the game. Now you got to go send the invite again to the other person. So that was annoying, but it also was good that everybody got a player, a human being to play, not have to worry about playing the computer.
What we need is like just a designate. Well, no, you can't boot the person. I was going to say it'd be nice just to have
That's
a designated.
The problem.
Yeah, you can't even boot out the person who's on the team. So yeah, we're screwed that way either way. Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I feel the same way. If somebody said, "Oh, I don't want to play," play the computer, man. At this point, I might just take the sim and see what happens.
Well, and that's what I was saying. That's what I was saying. As Fiend says to ban Ray Rice from Cnfl. Get AP while you're at it, Wong says. So, I don't know. I guess it is what it is. Maybe in future Maddens they'll have some kind of sub feature. But who are we kidding? This is EA, and we'll get into that in a little bit. About EA's shenanigans. All right, I wrote this down only because it's something that bugs me. I'm sure it doesn't bug you, but it definitely bugs me. And that is the early complaining in chat about owners who are getting their games in last. Mike, is this really a problem?
There's a detail in that. It's not that people get their, like tonight, okay? Barack and Merlin are going to play a deadline game. It sucks. We can't advance early, but they tried last night and they got disconnected. I mean, it happens. I don't have a problem with people like Grem and Swens are playing right now, which is, 2 hours before advance or something like that. But, they probably scheduled it this way. What I think people have a problem with is the people that show up on deadline morning and go, where is this guy? I want to play, da-da-da, when they could have pre-scheduled a day in advance or the day before the last advance or the day, whatever. it's the people that show up on deadline day and then play the deadline games consistently that people have a problem with. If a game gets scheduled and we know when it's going to be played, but it happens to be a deadline game, I don't think you hear an uproar. But it's the people that are like, and again, not a. It was him twice in a row. He's done a lot better the last 2 weeks, and I've known him forever. But Don has a very, he's got family, he's got job, he's got everything like that. And I know for weeks, I think 2 and 3, he showed up on the deadline day and he's like, has anybody seen this or how do I contact them? Da 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 da. And then was the last game to play. So that probably started to irk people because you don't want to see that. I mean, it's not that hard. We're advancing on Friday night regardless. So Friday during the evening, during whatever time you get, find the person who you're playing, text them and be like, hey man, we play after advance. Between Saturday and Monday, when are you available? And then if it happens to be, oh man, I can't play till Monday after Monday Night Football, all right, cool, that works for me too. At least when somebody asks, hey, are you guys scheduled? Yeah, we can't play till then. Oh, okay. But it's the not knowing and like I'm still looking for this person and like it wasn't Aiden's fault. I know Swen's I think on the Wednesday deadline was really hard to get a hold of or something like that. It's that crap that people don't like.
So I mean, this is one thing that definitely irks me as well. You join an online league, and especially in this league here, we're all vets. There is not one person in this league that hasn't been a member of an online franchise before. And it really, look, being in an online franchise is definitely a commitment. There's no way around it, especially with a schedule like we have of playing 3 games a week and a very strict schedule. A lot of other leagues, their schedules are a little wishy-washy. Maybe they play once every 3 days. Maybe they play once every 2 days. They don't have set deadline dates. Like we have set deadline dates, very simple to figure out. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 11:59 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So you always know. You don't have to figure it out. You could always schedule in advance. I mean, for example, this morning, I play Jimmy next week. This morning, him and I are in chat. Made the opportunity right there to say, Jimmy, can you play Saturday night at 10 p.m.? And I'm sure, who do you play this week?
Greasy.
You play Greasy. I know that you guys have already talked about starting that game because Greasy asked how long are you up till. That is how you do it. Now, no disrespect to A Rosa, okay? I think he's a solid guy. I've spoken to him before. He comes on chat last night, and he was being proactive. I'm going to tell you, he was being proactive last night and trying to get in touch with Consequences. But here was the problem: he didn't know how to get in touch with Consequences, and he said he couldn't log on to the website or whatever. There are multiple ways to get in touch with people, but everybody's cell phone number is available on the website. And only people from Cnfl can see it, which is a great feature. And now I guess the only problem with GroupMe is everybody assumes that everybody's looking at GroupMe 24/7, which is not the case. But I can tell you one thing that people are looking at a lot is their text messages. Yep. And it's everybody in this league, as far as I can tell, has a smartphone. There's nobody sitting there on there still with the old flip phones. They're sitting there hitting the button 15 times to send a text message. Everybody pretty much has a smartphone at this point. So I really see no reason on why there's no communication between some of these owners, and why some of these owners aren't getting the gist that maybe I should be the one that initiates the contact. Now, what I don't get is this, okay? Let's say I'm owner XXX, okay, and I get a text message. Why does it take me almost a day to respond to that text message? Explain that to me.
Yeah.
Because I don't get it. Why does it take me a day to respond to it? If anybody who it takes a day to respond to a text message knows or can tell me why it happens, please let me know, because I have no idea. I get a text message. It takes what? 2.5 seconds to respond to a text message. I'm available this time. I'm not available this time. Instead of leaving somebody else hanging, that is what drives me nuts. Is when you leave somebody else hanging. They sent the message, and let's be honest, you've seen the text message. Okay, you're not under a rock. You're not sleeping for 24 hours. Okay, you've seen the text message, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the only time. I mean, this is 11 hours would be my max because, well, not even 11 hours because I do get a break usually in a day. But like where I work, I literally can't even have my phone on me. So Like, I turned off all my notifications on GroupMe and stuff like that. I get a 30-minute break. I pull up, I regroup me. You know, if somebody sent me a text, I'll respond in that time. But other than that, then it's 5 hours before, 5 hours after that break. I'm not even looking at my phone most of the time unless the boss isn't there, then I might sneak it in.
It's
But
2014, okay? Everybody has smartphones. Everybody's addicted to their phone.
yeah,
Everywhere you look, you know, I ride in the subway. I ride in the train every single day, all right? And you know what? I forgot what it was like before we had smartphones because I'm telling you right now, on the subway, okay, everybody's like, on the train, everybody's, people are addicted to their cell phones. So for there to be a reason to have 24 hours go by and not get a response, and then somebody has to go to myself or Beg or whoever else, you know, I text messaged this person, you know, 24 hours ago, and I haven't received a text message. Well, I don't know what to tell you. Why are they not looking at that phone? Come on. You know,
yeah. I mean, that's
this is 2004.
you know, especially on our Monday to Wednesday, Wednesday to Friday deadlines. I mean, people have to be proactive for those 2 deadlines. You got 2 days. You got literally 48 hours. So, I mean, you got to, like, I always try, if the person hasn't gotten a hold of me, which sometimes they do, but, I mean, I always try the day that we're advancing, like, if I was playing anybody but Greasy, because Greasy is one of the best schedules we have, you know, I would have sent a text message this afternoon or this evening and just been like, hey, we play after advance. I can play, you know, after advance. I can play anytime Saturday, Sunday up until this, after this, or anytime Monday. And, you know, then the other person, it's on them. You know, I did my part. It's on them. You know, so I just, you know, I understand people are just like, well, you know, I'm in the league to have fun. That's great, you know, but, you know, you're putting in, when you signed up, you signed the commitment. I mean, that's what it is. It's not, well, I'll play when I damn well feel like it and you'll work around my schedule. No, that's not related either. It's 2 people.
That's what computer franchises are for.
Yeah, it's 2 people working together, and in the 48 hours, I mean, you got to try a little harder to work together with somebody. If they haven't reached out to you, reach out to them. You don't have to be the one that always, you know, some people, I feel like some people in this league think they're the diva girls that always have to be asked out on the date. Sometime ask somebody else out on the date.
Yeah, that's a good analogy, I guess. Oh man! Oh, you know, I mean, that just gets me fired up. So I'm
But
glad
yeah,
we got to talk
your
about
original
that.
question about, you know, if people are scheduled to play in the deadline, you know, should we really be getting on them? No, if they're scheduled. But it's the people that are showing up late, or if it's the same person all the time who's the last game, it gets readily annoying. It's like, come on, are you available to play any other time?
Right, right. Except for the last minute, it's just
Yeah.
you know. Who was it? I think who just said this in chat before. I saw something and it got me thinking, and maybe we could talk to Beg about it. If Beg is watching, you know, he could put in his 2 cents. It was Fiend. Fiend said deadlines Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. I was thinking about that. Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday might not be the worst thing because I'm thinking one of the problems with the weekend deadline during football season is you got Saturday, but then you got Sunday, and there are people like me who watch football all day and night. I'll play a game Sunday night, but I won't play a game during the day. And then you got the Monday Night Football game. What if we did Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday? Tuesday now, you don't have any football to contend with. Thursday, you got the Thursday night game, but I mean, to me, the Thursday night game is never much must-watch NFL. It's always the lowest quality piece of crap game there is. You know, players are short on rest, so the games are never even good. And Saturday, which I mean, look, I know there's college football, but most of the owners in Cnfl are not glued to their TV 24/7 on a Saturday watching college football. I wonder maybe if that's a better deadline schedule than the current deadline schedule.
Well, it's honestly the same thing if you think about it. I mean, you're not changing anything. Because if you do Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, the Saturday to Tuesday deadline, there's still 2 days that are unavailable for football. And if it's a Monday, Wednesday, Friday, there's still 2 days unavailable for football, and they're still in the same deadline. Doesn't change anything.
But now your deadline isn't on that Monday night.
Yeah, but I mean, you can still, with the Monday, Wednesday, Friday, you can still play Friday after advance or all day Saturday.
Yeah, I guess you're right. All right, look,
It doesn't change anything.
This is why we talk about these things on CNFL Live, so everybody can get into our heads.
It changes the day from a Saturday to a Tuesday. Well, which day would more people be available? Most people are going to have to work Wednesday. Yeah, people with families are less likely to be available Saturday, but maybe Saturday night, everybody's available. So I don't know, but nobody wants to stay up late on a Tuesday. So
Dean had said he was being poorly. So
what we do need to discuss and maybe vote on the boards though is moving up the advance time. I
guess
something that maybe should be voted on or talked about more.
You know, here's my issue with this. I'm pretty sure that we did this before. I'm pretty sure we did this, maybe it wasn't last Madden or 2 Maddens ago, because I believe at the time I was having issues with the 11:59 deadline because I was trying to get to bed earlier. And we had tried this, and there was no advantage. In fact, I think it ended up being a disadvantage to the West Coast people. For
how many West Coasters do we got? 4?
I think we have a few. I specifically remember us doing it, and it ended up being a fail for us. I remember it not working.
I mean, technically, it's not a disadvantage because they can play their games after advance better than everybody else because it'll be 9 o'clock for them.
Yeah, but it goes back to what we were just talking about.
If they're deadliners,
let's say you play the guys,
then yeah, it kind of screws them.
Right, or if you play a guy who's a deadline guy, and 10 o'clock is 7 o'clock on the West Coast, and you can't play that early, you're kind of screwed. That's why I always felt like the 11:59 kind of works, because I think more of the East Coast people are night owls in this league, as opposed to the West Coast person having a 7 p.m.
I'm not sure you'd have to do even 2 hours. I think just an hour would be nice. I think
11 o'clock instead of
a 10:59 Eastern dead. I don't think you got to go 2 hours. That might be a little drastic, but I think an hour would be nice.
I think this is something that we would need to find out who exactly our West Coasters are. Okay, because the change would be really affecting them the most.
Yeah.
Find out who the West Coasters guys are, all of them, and polling those guys to see what would work for them. Us East Coast guys, it's not going to be a big difference for us at all.
I mean, off the top of my head, I know Fiend is Mountain Time. I know Wong's West Coast, and he doesn't care. I mean, Wong's about as proactive as it comes to his scheduling, so he's never a deadline guy. I think Big Red Lucky might be, but I mean, yeah, you'd have to find out who all is West Coast and ask them, hey, would this be a huge switch for you? Because obviously on the night of advance, they'd get a huge benefit because it'd be like 9 o'clock for them, 10 o'clock or whatever, 9 o'clock. So they get to play right after advance, and everybody else is sitting here like 11, probably going to bed.
That's assuming that they're playing somebody who is proactive.
True,
if you're playing a Don, okay, for example, okay, not just for example, okay, I know he gets his games and everything, but you're playing one of these guys that you need to send out smoke signals to get their attention. You might end up being in trouble if you can't play at 7 o'clock Pacific time on deadline night, where you can play at 9 o'clock Pacific.
Yeah, but you're thinking worst case scenario. I mean, you got to think if the West Coast guys are good owners, they're not waiting until deadline night. They're playing either.
Well, they're not, but you got to worry about their opponents. You got to worry about their opponents, so that's the issue. Their opponents who are on the East Coast.
I think an hour though. I think an hour though would be something to investigate. Find out who the West Coasters are. Ask them. I don't think an hour would be crazy, and that would help out the East Coast too. So.
It's like I said. It's like I said to Beg. If it's not broke, don't fix it. And I feel like right now everything is going fine. So what's really the advantage to
pretty much so
changing?
Beg doesn't have to stay up till midnight to advance.
Oh, well, see, that was my issue too. Because nobody wants to stay up till midnight to advance.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Okay, I mean, so if you could give that person an hour and it wouldn't kill anything, I mean, it'd be interesting to try. Let's try it for 3 deadlines, see what happens. I mean, worst case scenario, extend it if there's really a panic, but shit, why not?
Yeah.
Also, if it's not broke, don't fix it. I see that, and I raise you if you're not growing, you're dying.
Yeah. Well, look, I mean, that's an issue that unfortunately with 32 people in the league, not everybody is growing. And that's just what it is. All right, let's talk about the issues with Madden this year, specifically.
Hold on, Madden the game or just EA the company?
All right, let's just say EA the company.
I was gonna say because Madden the game is fucking beautiful.
Yeah, the game is great. And for anybody who did not see my rant to EA, you know, I'm at the dinner table tonight. My girls, one of my kids said to me that they found my video on YouTube of me ranting to EA, and they were like, I saw a video. You were talking about Madden. You were talking about EA, but you seemed like so angry. I'm like, yeah, I was angry. It was 1 a.m. in the morning. I was barely awake. If you watch the video, I'm like fighting to keep my eyes open as I'm like chit-chatting to the people at EA that didn't respond to me, those jerks. Well, so what do we got? We got desyncs, which it appears that desyncs we have under control now.
Well, technically the last server size update said that they fixed the graphics causing desyncs, but I still would keep, I think camera toggle was the big one. So I would still keep the settings as are until we actually get a real patch. People.
I agree. We had the notifications issue, which ended up being a Microsoft issue.
Yeah, that was an Xbox issue.
Yeah, that was an Xbox issue. And the good old NAT type, which I don't know if it's an Xbox issue.
That's more of an Xbox, because that's even when you turn your Xbox on. I don't care what disk is in the drive.
Well, I mean, look, I obviously have had moderate type since I got the Xbox One, and I was playing Titanfall. I played Call of Duty online. Even when I was playing Watch Dogs, you know, people were able to jump into my games. So I think there was some kind of relationship with the NAT type and Madden.
Well, it's not Madden. It's the person you're playing's internet. I mean, not everybody would be able to jump into your game. They'd have to have a certain connection level to you, and that's the thing. If I'm playing you, and my connection level isn't up to your connection level's moderate settings, we're going to disconnect or not be able to connect. So, you know, that's the whole thing. Like, it's more the service providers' standards, you know, and your IP standards of moderate compared to open. Like, open, anybody of any internet can join my game. That's why I could play Call of Duty and get stuck with some guy who's red bar and running 1 meg and be, like, bouncing around the screen like...
Yeah.
Like that. You, on the other hand, that won't happen to. They're not going to pair you with anybody that's going to slow you down or bring that doesn't mesh with your connection. But if somebody doesn't have that standard, you're not going to be able to play them in Madden.
I say hashtag respect the player.
So that's not much of a Madden issue. That's an IP, it's an internet issue. I mean, the only Madden issue we had was the disconnects, and I mean, there was a workaround. You know, I think Josh Lumen gave us half the solution. I think the camera toggle was the big one. You know, and they did say the defense. They did a server-side update anyway. I don't know if you've noticed, but all the defensive graphics are back on anyway, even if you turn them off. So
yeah, I noticed that.
They pretty much said, "Fuck you guys, we're just going to turn them all on."
Yeah.
And this is going to fix the desyncs. So that's what pretty much happened.
So the next topic I have here, okay, the fun of Twitch and watching games, and how this has changed the landscape of Cnfl. I think it's amazing. You know, I think that this we've been wishing for this for a long, long time. You know, I remember back in the day, before online gaming started on console games, and I was in high school playing my Madden then. I used to imagine, you know, I used to you think I'm going to be like psychotic or something, but I used to imagine that I wasn't playing the computer, but there was actually somebody someplace else in the world playing versus me. All right, and obviously, eventually, we got this with online play. Eventually, you know, they started, you know, facing me, and all of a sudden I started not doing as well as I was doing versus those other poor bastards I was beating as the computer. But then, you know, we all thought about it. You know, how awesome would it be if we could watch each other's games? And at times, you know, we had set stuff up. I mean, I used to use a PVR to record my games. I would post them on YouTube. I remember, I think it was last year, Swag tried broadcasting some games using this computer. But I mean, this now, what we have, is completely incredible. The fact that, you know, everybody, I'd say majority of the league is broadcasting their games, and which is great. And the fact that at any time you can go and see somebody's playing a game and put their game on, I think it's it's outstanding. I think it's a lot of fun to be able to watch other games. I'm not sitting there taking notes. Okay, this person, runs runs an I formation on 1st and 10, and then they do a play action here. No, and I'm pretty sure nobody is doing that. People are just sitting down, getting to watch these other games, and instead of just looking at the stats and seeing the stats in the game, now everybody's game has an actual picture and an actual storyline to it, and I think that's outstanding. I mean, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree. I've noticed in the last couple of weeks the people broadcasting has dwindled. I know there's been a lot of issues with Twitch out there. Like Emmett, for some reason, can't get his to show up online, even though it says he's broadcasting on his Xbox. He can't get anybody else to see it. I think Blix maybe is the same way, or somebody else. Mine's been really laggy. Like every time I try to hit start broadcasting, like it sits there for like 45 minutes, and then it's laggy getting into the game. And honestly, I just don't want to play a laggy Madden game, so I cut it off with the Broncos and with Don, just because I don't want to sit there and try and wait for it to adjust for half a quarter while I'm playing a laggy Madden game. I'd rather just play the game. So I've uninstalled mine, and hopefully I'll try it against Greasy when we play at 2 in the morning and have 0 viewers. But it's a great feature. Playoff time is when I'm really going to be excited for it. I mean, week 1 games are great. Week 5 games, Week 12 games,
Well, as those later games do come up and they end up being more important, I think people, it's going to be very exciting to watch those games.
Yeah, I mean, I think people being able to watch, the playoff races and maybe 14, 15, or week 15, 16, 17, and then the playoffs for sure. I mean, if you don't broadcast a playoff game, or at least one person not broadcasting the game, you should be booted out the league. Fuck you.
But one of the more exciting things about broadcasting the game I love is just to see how many people are watching my game. I know my game versus Gus. I had up to 8 viewers. I was like, this is great. They're watching my extremely boring game versus Gus.
Yeah, I had 11 when I lost to Aiden. I had 11.
Well, that was a big one, especially when everybody got on and said, "Oh, Mike's going to lose to Aiden." Then the viewership went up. We should have Nielsen ratings.
As soon as everybody went on the Red Zone channel and saw that it was 40 seconds left and was down by 7 points, the viewership just skyrocketed to watch this happen.
What I love about it though too is you could watch it anywhere. You can watch it on the computer. You can watch it on your cell phone. Anybody doesn't know a great way. You have to have the Twitch app downloaded. But as long as you download the Twitch app, and if you have the Xbox Glass app, which if you don't have the Xbox Glass app, you're completely missing out. It's a great addition to the Xbox. You can control parts of the Xbox with the app. You can type with the app. It's an amazing app. You can view videos from the app. If somebody posts a game clip, you can watch it from the app. But the great thing is, if you go to your friends list on the app, it'll show their broadcasting. And right there from the Xbox app, you can click Watch Broadcast, and that will open up your Twitch app, and you can watch the game right from your phone. I think that's a super easy way. You know what? I'm on the crapper like I usually am. I go and I take a look, see if anybody's playing, and I'll sit there. I'll watch the game while I'm on a toilet, and then I'll go and continue my viewing elsewhere, hoping not to trip over the floor or the cat or something like that as I'm watching a Madden game from my phone. The other night, I'm sitting down with my wife watching TV, and I have the laptop open, and I'm sitting there watching somebody's game. Speaking of the cat just walked right by back there. I don't know if you happen to notice. But I think, it's like anywhere you go now, you can watch a Cnfl game. And I hope people continue to broadcast their games. It's very easy to do. If you guys aren't doing it, I really recommend it. It's very easy to sign up for a Twitch account, and you download the app on the Xbox, and all you got to do then is chit-chat to your Xbox, tell your Xbox to start broadcast, and it's going to set up the whole console on the right, and it has a snap on there. You can shut the snap off afterwards, right after your start broadcast. Everybody can watch.
I would definitely recommend. I mean, if you're going to do it, hopefully get on, let your game start running up a little bit, snap it, start broadcast, and let that broadcast happen for about 5 minutes before you get into your connected franchise game. Let it get all processed out.
100% agree. Yeah, that is actually a great point by Mike. You do want to start that broadcast before you start the game. Just as soon as you go into Madden, start the broadcast. This way, then you don't have to worry about potential lag. I 100% agree with that. That I do all the time myself. So. Twitch is awesome. You can't deny it, and if you try to deny it, you'll be a fool. Because you know what? Twitch to me also helps keep players accountable. I mean, here's a good example. All right, now I don't know if this had anything to do with it. I'm going to assume it didn't, but you know, there was all this chatter on the boards that Miz was doing something potentially illegal with Marcus Colston, and you know what? His next game, which was broadcast, I think it was by Jimmy, that had a large viewership because everybody wanted to see what in the hell King was doing. Now, as it turned out, King was doing nothing. King was well, he didn't do anything at least that game, and Colson had just one catch for 80 yards. So, but I just think it does help keep owners accountable.
Yeah, I mean, I think, you know, I'm sure King did some, you know, he wanted to put it to Spider. You know, obviously they had their verbal sparrings. You know, and I'm not going to say Spider's lying on what he saw, but at the same time, you know, like I've said to everybody else, man, if you don't say Xbox record that or Twitch your game, shut the hell up. I mean, you have every facet now available to prove, and King showed that with Mealville. I mean, he got it all right there on tape, did it every single time. Xbox record that like 5 straight plays. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, you know, you got every facet now to show what the hell's going on in a game. And if you choose not to use that and you just want to come and complain that you lost, then, you know, whatever. I even have, you know, like me, I said something to Aiden. I didn't make a huge deal out of it because it wasn't crazy. But, like, you know, Aiden ran this one play where it had the it was a shotgun play where the slot wide receiver did a button hook. And, you know, I had the previous play information on. So I literally saw it was the exact same play like 3 times during the game. So I said to him, you know, I just said after the game, you know, just, you know, mix up the play calling. You know, come on. You got 200, 400 plays in a playbook. We don't need to call the same 3 plays in a 45-play game. That's stupid. Or the same play 3 times in a 45-play game. So, you know, it's not a crazy deal. It didn't lose me the game. It didn't cheese me. It's not a cheesy play. It's just something that I just noticed. Yeah. It's not you know, that's the whole thing. If somebody's doing something to break the AI or break the game, I'm going to get heated on that because that's bullshit. I mean, you're intentionally breaking a computer program to get an advantage. Like, seriously? I mean, come on.
Well, you know, what else I like about this is, you know, players help each other as well. You know, I've had people like you, and I know CGS, who have, you know, given me some pointers after watching me play some games that aren't versus them, which I think could be very helpful as well.
Yeah.
Has anybody given you a pointer?
No. It's me. What are they going to tell me? Play harder? I mean...
what do we got next?
I got the #1 defense in the league with a 60 overall quarterback. You know, here's my pointer. Trade for a better quarterback.
Well, I mean, look, all right, first of all, you know, let's talk about, you know, defense in this league, all right? I think at one point I was 14th in the league in defense, and I think I had like a 13 points against per game.
Well, the defensive rankings in Madden are set by yards, which is weird, kind of. I mean, it needs to be a combination, but at the same time, you can't just set it by points because it counts however many points were scored against you in that game, regardless of how they were scored. You could throw 5 pick sixes, which isn't your defense's fault, and it'll say you gave up 56 points that game, or whatever, 35 points that game. Math.
Well, I was looking at that even. I mean, I don't know if that's different than on.
It's not.
On Madden
Daddy, at least, if you click on your team and then click defense, it'll give you what you are in each category, which is nice. But
yeah, well, that's what I was looking at.
Yeah.
All right, you know, let's talk a little bit of CNFL because we really haven't done that. I mean, we've talked about many issues and stuff like that, which honestly I love, and I could do this all day. But let's talk about the actual what's going on in the game and on the field. And we'll start with the AFC. Give me your 2 biggest surprises in AFC, the best and the worst surprise in the AFC thus far.
My best surprise is going to be CGS. CGS played, you know, he's in a division where, you know, we got Wong, who's a CNFL god, and, you know, you got Schaff, who came in with, you know, Spider pretty much touting him up, saying Super Bowl or bust, 19-0 seasons multiple times, da-da-da-da. And I'm pretty sure CGS is only lost to the Patriots computer, if I'm not
Yeah,
mistaken.
that is correct. Only to the Patriots computer, yeah.
So, I mean, CGS played well. I mean, he's got that team going right. He was begging for a linebacker pretty much all offseason. So, it seemed like he got one that maybe worked for him, and he's definitely been the good surprise. The bad surprise in the AFC, honestly, I don't know. I'd have to maybe go with, the new guy, because he started off so nice with consequences. Started off first 2 games with shutouts, and then I think he's lost 3 straight, no, 2 straight, 3 straight, I don't know, somewhere in there. I think 3 straight.
Yeah, he started off 2-0.
Yeah, so, after week 2, we were kind of thinking, oh shit, Consequence is a real player over here, and, he struggled 3 straight games, so, that definitely would be, I guess, my bad surprise. You could throw Wong in there too, with the Steelers, but at the same time, I don't think that Steelers team wasn't really a powerhouse. It's still got work to be done. I still think Wong makes the playoffs. So, if you're in the playoffs, anything can happen. He's just got to get that team right in the next 12 weeks.
Well, right now the 6th playoff spot in the AFC belongs to the Patriots. So
yeah, that'll change. That'll change.
Yeah,
Remix gets back. That'll change.
That will change.
Love your Remix.
Unless Remix takes the rest of the year off, but then I guess we'll need a new Patriots owner. I think for me, thus far, I'm looking at right now, and I'll tell you probably one of my biggest surprises probably is the Jets. I mean, here we are talking about A-Rosa, and I don't believe A-Rosa's played a computer game, and he's right there in that AFC East at 4-2, and I don't think anybody would have thought that that he would be part of a race, which looks like a very competitive AFC East. All right, fine. You want to take the Patriots out of the mix because of the remix computer thing, fine. But you got the Bills at 6-0, the Jets at 4-2, and you got the Dolphins at 3-2, and Spider is a solid player as well. So I'd say probably A-Rosa. I mean, I know A-Rosa was a decent player. I just want to go and take a look at the games that A-Rosa has played here and try not to slow down the connection here, and I apologize if I do, because I'm doing something on my computer while broadcasting, God forbid. Excuse me 1 second as I pull up the Jets schedule so far. So let's see. I mean, this is interesting. He lost to Greasy in week 1. So that's one of his 2 losses, and and he lost to. In fact, I didn't even realize this, but he started 0-2 because he then he got shellacked by X 51-13. But since then he beat Graham and the Bears. I mean, Graham is struggling right now at 1-4, but he beat him 45-35. He beat Meal 31-28. He beat the Chargers and Jimmy 31-24. And now he just beat Consequences 31-7. In fact, if you want to even take it a step further, Mike, this Madden is a very defensive Madden. And look at the scores that he's had since week 3. He's had 45 points, 31 points, 31 points, and 31 points. So yeah, I actually think that's pretty impressive.
I'm pretty sure Geno Smith is the top-rated quarterback in terms of passer rating in Cnfl.
Yeah, I believe so. I mean, I know I didn't expect this. Did you?
Well, I mean, I heard grumblings that he was pretty good once everybody vacated Cnfl in the middle of Season 2 last year when the Xbox One came out. I heard he took over King's team, but obviously that was the 49ers, and was a pretty good player. But yeah, I know Greasy had a furious comeback in week 1, but nobody was really used to the game in week 1, so anything could happen there. Packers gave him a good beating in week 2, and yeah, I mean he's played well. Hopefully the Yankees don't make the playoffs, so he's around to play more often.
Well, the Yankees aren't making the playoffs. You don't have to worry about that, as far as I know. I mean, I stopped paying attention to baseball, but when I was paying attention, they pretty much sucked. So.
Yeah, I know he works for the Yankees, so anytime the Yankees are at a home game or if they have a home stand, and plus Jeter's last season, I mean, he can't get on his phone, he can't get anywhere, so he's kind of hard to reach. But yeah, hopefully it'll be nice to see him come, end of October or end of September, I guess, and he'll be on the site more, and then, obviously if you can play Madden more, the better you'll be. So
I think
he hasn't played a division opponent yet, so we got to see how he does against Spider and King.
Yes, those and those are going to be very big games for him. And I'll tell you what, if he comes out on top of either one of those games against the Dolphins or the Bills, then I'm going to be a believer that this guy's for real and he's a playoff contender. And I think that's great. That we got somebody who I mean I don't think that if I go back and look back at our preview show, I'm pretty sure we never factored the Jets in for a playoff spot. For me, I'd say definitely the biggest shock is Wong, and I'll tell you why. Although I think we did predict on the preview show that Wong and the Steelers were going to be slow out of the gate, it's still surprising to see. And the reason why I say this is because I think we've always believed that the two of the top players in the league were Wong and King. At least those are the guys who have the history. Have been around forever and have won the most championships and thus far. King has not struggled at all. King is 6-0, and Wong is sitting at 3-3. Is it because the Steelers aren't a Wong-style team? I mean, he has Jake Locker, who he loves. That I think this is one of the more interesting scenarios that have played out. And I look at his schedule. I know he just got beat up by Jay Schaff, who is proving to be another top quality player that we added to the league this year.
Yeah, I think in terms of Wong, I mean, yeah, I think the Steelers obviously didn't start out like the Seahawks did last year for Wong. That was kind of nice, or like the Lions did the year before, where we had 2-3 star players. And nobody's really traded with him. I mean, he made a couple of small deals, but he hasn't got that big name Jimmy Graham, Julio Jones type trade yet. I use yet.
The deadline isn't until week 8. So
even if he doesn't get it in season 1, I mean, season 2 he might throw the whole farm at somebody just to get a player. So
yeah.
I mean, especially these guys that might be in cap trouble, like the Broncos and the Lions are. But anyway, I mean, yeah, I don't think the team's set up perfectly for Wong. So I think, and honestly, he kind of left. He never really played Madden 25 on the 1. And he only played maybe a handful of scrimmages before he started the league. So I mean, you got to think he's maybe 20, 25 games in. I mean, yeah. you got to put in the time. You got to get used to the game, especially if it's, this game is so much more realistic than anything ever was on the 360. If you're not used to that, like, it's a huge adjustment. So.
Yeah, and I guess then to do the comparison with King is King did have the 1 and he was playing Madden 25, so yeah. He was kind of used to the one's play style.
I would like to see what King's record would be if we could go back and be in an alternate universe, if we wouldn't have allowed this back out of trades crap, and he would have had midget receivers that just all had I would have liked to see what King's record would be with those guys getting the ball chucked 50 yards downfield and trying to catch with them, because that would be interesting.
I still think
if he didn't have Mario Williams, he would have lost Mario Williams. He wouldn't have Colston. I mean, those have been some big players so far. I know he got other players back in that deal like Ansa and stuff like that, but it would have been interesting to see what his team would look like if the trades they originally all made in the first 3 days of having our teams would have all stuck.
Yeah, you know what though, I think that if those trades didn't stick, other trades would have. He would have figured something. Look, say what you want about King. The guy is the best player in the league. There's no denying it. I hate to give the guy a bigger head than he already has, but he is the best player in the league, bottom line. And I'm sure I'll get flamed for that comment later, but that's another issue. All right, let's talk NFC East. I will go first on this one.
We're doing NFC East or just the whole NFC?
I mean NFC. I apologize. The NFC. I apologize. Well, I'd say right now the biggest surprise for me is probably going to be Gus. Now we all know Gus is a very, very good player, but he has those Niners out to 6-0. And, he has had some quality wins. I want to go take a look at and just run through his wins real quick. He's 5-0 in the conference, which is big. So he's getting big conference wins. This is not a fluke. Mike will tell you, Gus, he's a very good player. He's been in the division with Gus before, so he's had to deal with Gus previously. But, I mean, I'm looking at the games here. 29-3 over the Cowboys, 21-13 over the Bears, 31-17 over the Cardinals, 17-3 over the Eagles, 17-7 over the Chiefs, and 30-7 over the Rams. I mean, look at this here. You got one two, three, 4 out of his 6 games, he's held his opponents to below 10 points. I mean that's great, and that's why he's 6-0. He's not scoring points. 17, 17, 13. He's not scoring 21. He's not scoring points, but he is playing a dominant defensive game in what really is a defensive Madden. And I mean, do you think? Taking yourself out of the equation, and I know that could be hard to do. Do you think Gus is Super Bowl ready?
Yeah, me and him played a great game. Obviously, I've seen his other games. I know he's 6-0. He's in my division. Obviously, I'm looking. But yeah, he was smart with the football in our game. I'm pretty sure he didn't throw a pick. He took what I would give him, and if he didn't get it, he'd punt it away and make me go down the field on him. So, that's real football. That's what the 49ers would play. He's not going to beat himself, I guess, is the best way to put it. And, that's smart. He's got a really good team. Let's not kid ourselves. 49ers are a top 5, top 3 team in Madden. So, use that to your advantage. He didn't make many trades. I think he got C.J. Spiller for, I don't even know what he gave up Bolden, who he really didn't need, and I think a linebacker. And then he did a small trade with me for a guy he probably doesn't even use. But he made tiny trades. He didn't make the big trade to weaken his team or anything like that. So, yeah, he's solid. I'm trying to remember if he's made it. I think he's made it in the playoffs before, maybe, with the Bears or the Steelers, but I'm not sure.
He definitely made it. I know he definitely made it. I know he made it with the Steelers.
I know he made it with the Steelers in season 5 when we had those computer teams, but I don't know if he made it before that. So but season 5 I was out of the division. Just throwing that in there.
Yeah.
But no, in this, I'm sorry. So far in this Madden, even though King and Gus are 6-0, I don't see games where they couldn't have lost. King almost lost to the Lions. King almost lost to Emmett. Emmett threw 2 pick sixes, which kind of cost him that game. Mm-hmm. King has had some close games. Gus and I's game was a lot closer than that. The score indicates, and I think Gus was close to somebody else who he got a last drive on or something like that, even at one of the first 2 weeks or something. Maybe I'm wrong, but Gus is definitely, he's good. He's smart. He's not gonna sit there and try and chuck it into 3 people, because he can. He's just gonna, it's 3rd and 8. Okay, I'll run the dive and punt it 40 yards, and you can be inside your 10 and drive at 90. Feel free.
Yeah, I think that's one of the big things about Gus. Is Gus, he really does play a bend but don't break type of a game, and it works for him because he can do it. Because he can do the D play calling. He played D. He's tough. He's tough to play on D. I think to me, he did get a win tonight versus Swens. But I'd say the biggest surprise in a negative way probably has to be Grem's squad at now 2-4. We talked about King and how he had Xbox One and was playing. Well, so was Grem. So Grem has his hometown Bears. He's 2-4. I always thought the Bears are a good Madden team, but something went wrong here. Obviously, his first game he lost to King, so there's no shame in that. He lost to Gus. Is it a case he lost to A. Rosa? So you know what? I'm looking at this right now, and I'm looking at his losses. Okay, his losses were the Bills, the Niners, and the Jets to start off with, and we spoke about the Jets earlier. And his other loss, though, was probably one of the most surprising ones, and that was to Matt. Now, Matt is getting better. Matt started off late. He got the Xbox on launch day, but he did lose to Matt there. He did beat X. What do you think about what's going on with the Bears and why right now, as we speak, he isn't in playoff contention?
Yeah, he's played some quality owners. I wouldn't say any of those are people that he shouldn't have really lost to. He beat X, who at the time I believe was undefeated, and now X has lost 3 straight, so or 2 straight. I don't know, one of the 2. I know he doesn't like Cutler really. If the guy doesn't throw right for you, that's a problem because it might not. He might have the ratings, he might have this, he might have that, but if you can't do what you want to do with him, then it's just not going to work for you. So who knows if he actually trades Cutler? I know he doesn't have a bonus, so he might be able to get rid of him, but he's not going to take any crap for him because the guy is like a 90-something quarterback. So I don't think he'll trade him in season 1, maybe season 2, but I think Graham will get it together. I could see him finishing out 10-6 or maybe 9-7 and trying to get it. Who knows actually in that division? I don't know what's going on because Swag's not the greatest. X has lost a couple, so shit, the division's still wide open.
That's kind of interesting too because we said that division was going to be one of the toughest divisions, and it's right now it's not shaking out to be. I'll tell you.
Hold on. Well, how do we define tough? Like all good records, or just you never know who's going to win because it'll come down to the last.
I'm looking at all good, at all good records. I mean, we've seen these divisions before, and Mike, I'm looking at the standings right now. There's really nobody. There's a lot of parity in the league this year.
Yeah.
Take a look at the playoff races real quick. Okay, you got King at AFC first of all. Okay, you got King at number 1, 6-0. Then you got the Bengals. That's CGS at 4-1. You got the Jags at 4-2. Right now, I guess I win every single tiebreaker known to man, according to Daddy Leagues. I'm in 4th at 2-3. Browns at 4-1, and you got a CPU Patriots team at 4-2. In the NFC, you got the Niners at 6-0. You got Fiend and his Saints at 4-1.
That was gonna be my biggest surprise. I think Fiend is he's played really well. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, let's just take a look at the Saints' schedule real quick. I think that's great, and I did look at the Saints, and I was going to say, okay, we can make them the big surprise. I do agree. I think, look, the Saints are Fiend's team, and we go back, they're not his team, but I mean they're his type of Madden team, and we go back and we think about everything that happened in the preseason, how we were trying to concoct this AFC West of myself, Fiend, Begg, and. Who else was it that we were trying to? There was one other person we were trying to get into that division, and we couldn't get it done. I think that was probably the best thing for Fiend because assuming Drew Brees doesn't retire, which I'm hoping it doesn't happen.
I think it's coming.
That's ridiculous. If that happens, that's so stupid.
I don't think Madden.
Drew Brees is not retiring next year in real life.
I am not holding my breath that Madden changed their connected franchise programming on who retires.
Oh my goodness. Well, I mean, his one loss came to Jay Chef, which I mean that game was a redo game. I remember if you remember, their original game was a really close game in the 4th quarter. In fact, I think Fiend was driving for a potential win. If that game doesn't disconnect, Fiend could have been 5-0. You could make the argument for that because he was driving very late in the game before that desync happened, and I believe it was a tied game at the time. He got shellacked in the redo, but the redos are never the same, especially when you get desynced in the 4th quarter. At that point, especially in a situation where Fiend he was driving late in the game, tied game, that's completely
demoralized at that point.
Yeah, exactly. At that point, you just really don't care. You just want to get it over with. He beat Swens. He manhandled Swag and the Vikings, and he beat the Cowboys well. That's Omar, and he beat up on Barack. And looking at the schedule here, he got obviously he's got the Lions. He still gets to face. He gets to face the Panthers again. He's got some tough games coming up though. I think this is going to be interesting. He's got the Saints, which I look for him to win that one, but he's got the Packers. Then after that, he has the Niners. He has the Bengals. That's going to be a very telling stretch there for Fiend.
Yeah, I agree. But, he's got Jimmy Graham, he's got Drew Brees, and he knows how to play, which is, like I was saying about Graham, the opposite goes for Fiend. Fiend likes how the way Drew Brees throws the ball. He knows where to put it with Brees. He knows how to throw it with Brees, and it works well. I mean, if you can figure out how to play with your quarterback and what they can do and what they can't do, that's the best part that you can do. So
we're going to wrap things up here. One last question.
Thanks to everybody who joined us tonight.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, go screw yourselves. Hey, look, we had at one point a max of 5 viewers, so look, this is fun for you and I guess, and the 5 people actually tune in. So what do you expect to see the next 6 or so games in the CNFL. Do you expect to see some teams that sort of slow turn it around and make that playoff push? Do you see some other teams maybe coming out of nowhere? What do you think?
I mean, I think by week 10 we're gonna see who's getting this game down, who's got their game plan, who's got their team right, and then we're gonna see who maybe won a few games early on, taking advantage of people who didn't have their team right or who didn't get the game plan down yet.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think you'll see. I think you'll see the pretenders and the contenders and the pretenders separate from each other. So, I mean, you know, obviously, I still think somebody's going to have a good record who's going to miss out on the playoffs because they're going to lose a tiebreaker or something like that. But I definitely think you'll see, you know, the people who got, you know, you're not going to see as many upsets in the next 6 weeks as you saw in the first 3. I don't think so.
I hope we do, because I like being able to look at that scoreboard and not know who's going to win a game and be surprised when I see somebody like an Aiden beat you, or Merlin beat Wong or something like that.
Even this week, you started to see. I mean, I don't know if you've noticed, but this week the scores went up.
Yeah, I know. I did notice that there've been a lot more blowouts this week.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. No.
I mean, people are starting to figure out, okay, this, you know, I got to play smart. I can't just chuck it around the field and throw 6 picks, and I got to put a drive together. I got to, you know, take my shots when I get them, but be safe, you know, stuff, you know, play real football, you know, what you're supposed to do. So.
Wow. We mean Madden actually did it now? Oh, wait. But I'm sure there's an update coming that's going to change all that. We'll be playing arcade football before long again. That's just me being an EA hater.
Yeah. I mean, it's you know, it's interesting, but yeah, this week, I mean, there was a lot. I mean, whether they might have been mismatches, there might have been a lot of mismatches this week, but I think a lot of the games this week, you started to see, okay, this guy's the good player. You know, this guy's got his team where it's supposed to be. This guy still needs to, you know, make some moves, get some players in there, stuff like that. So I think you started to see it. This is the start of the, you know, the arc of.
We'll see.
How it's
honestly, Mike, I hope you're wrong.
As I say that, I lose to Greasy this week.
You better not, because I'm in a tight division here. You know, all of us. Oh boy. All right. Well, that does it for this edition of CNFL Live. I thank everybody who tuned in, and I thank everybody who decides to watch the archive later on. CNFL Live will always be available at the bottom of the Daddy Leagues page. The archive will be there immediately after we finish the broadcast, and all future broadcasts will be at the bottom of the Daddy Leagues page. I think it's a great addition to the page. I apologize for not updating the main story, but I just don't know what to really write about. I'm not a writer. Sorry. So I don't really care. I don't think you guys really read that anyway. You're just going on to look at the stats. You don't care about what I have to say. Anyway, Michael, good luck in your game versus Greasy this week. And to everybody else, that's it from CNFL Live.